Hi, and welcome to another level 1 playthrough of a Souls game because I'm unoriginal and also because I needed to find videos to make in order to mess around with video editing to get better. This playthrough only has two goals, the first of which is to never level up, obviously, and the second of which is to beat all Remembrance bosses, because it wouldn't be a Souls playthrough otherwise. So naturally, the first step is always the same, and that's to get absolutely ass-blasted by the Grafted Scion. Anyway, I now wake up in a random cave with bottles stuck to my ass, and after a quick elevator ride it was time to actually head out into Limgrave. So I decide to go the complete wrong way in order to pick up the random shiny that I'm never going to use, and then I sit down in the grace in order to mess around with my flasks, because I picked the golden seed as my starting gift. After talking to this jerkbag for absolutely no reason, I start hopping along the mountains in order to reach the Church of Ella, and I pick up the smithing stone that's just lying there, and then I take the grace. I also decide I'm going to fight the Tree Sentinel, because naturally no playthrough of Elden Ring is complete unless you beat the Tree Sentinel as early as possible. And obviously by using only a fraction of my immense skill at this game, and also with absolutely no luck whatsoever, I managed to actually defeat him on my first try. With him dead, I get a halberd I can't use, and then I go ahead and buy some stuff from college, just because I might use them at some point, question mark. Now it's time to get myself a horse, so I head towards Gatefront, and I also murder a couple of Godric soldiers along the way, just because, and one of them is even nice enough to give me his armor, so thanks for the used clothes, bud. With a horse in hand, I finish quote-unquote talking to Melina before I go ahead and loot Gatefront for all it's worth. Once that's done, I get another grace, and after talking to Bach in order to have him stop harassing me, I try to kill this beetle, but I kind of failed my opening attack miserably, and right as I'm about to kill him, I get jump scared by a nice cavalry, and then I die for the first time in the playthrough. I respawn at the Stake of America, and I actually go ahead and kill the beetle correctly this time, and then I almost die again, but oh well. And eventually I reach the grace next to the Mistwood. Now it's time to head towards my first real objective, which is not actually Kenneth Heights, but he is annoying, so I do go ahead and talk to him to shut him up, and then I head to the Third Church of America in order to pick up the flask and also the Sacred Tear. But obviously all of that useless garbage isn't why I'm really here. I'm actually here because I want a trip to Brazil, so I take the teleporter behind and I end up in Dragon Barrow. Anyway, now it's time for a bit of uneventful platforming before I finally get to the bottom, and then I pick up both the Cinco Dea, which I'm probably never going to use, but most importantly, the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman, which I might use. After teleporting back up, I start making my way over to the other parts of Dragon Barrow, picking up a golden seed on the way and getting screamed at by a dragon, and then I jump the Spirit Spring in order to get to everyone's favorite early game area, Fort Faroth. Like most of the other early game areas, it's incredibly easy, and I just run through these bat things and make it to the ladder with absolutely no problem, where I also pick up the Dectus medallion at the top. I now accidentally juke a rat by picking up this golden rune, and by making my way over, I suddenly meet his downtown friends, and they don't take too kindly to my shenanigans, and they kill me. Anyway, after coming back, I managed to actually dodge the rats this time, so I head down into the hole and I go ahead and pick up Radagon's Sword Seal, which is the real reason why I came all the way out here, because obviously it was. So now I warp back to Limgrave and I head to the Mistwood Ruins because I wanted to progress Blythe's questline, because I wanted the free Somber Smithing Stone too, and I completely forgot what I was talking about for a second there. So once I'm done with Blythe and his shenanigans, I go ahead and take a bit of time in order to loot pretty much everything I can find in the Mistwood. After that I warp back to the Church of Ella in order to get the finger snap gesture from Kale, but I accidentally encounter Ronnie, who gives me the spirit calling bell that I'll never use, and I also take a quick trip to Roundtable to do absolutely nothing before coming straight back and actually getting the gesture this time. And then it's off to Blythe to talk with him. Once that's done, I take a quick trip to the Limgrave tunnels to pick up some smithing stones and also kill the troll at the end, which I had no reason to do, but I was there so I figured I might as well, and then I'm off to fight Darrowil with Blythe's help. So with Blythe's help, I go ahead and completely shit all over Darrowil, because really this fight wasn't even remotely interesting. He just got staggered all the time and it was really funny to watch, honestly. Anyway, killing him grants me the Bloodhound's Fang, but I realize that I can't use it with just Radagon's Sword Seal, so I put that on the back burner for now, and instead I go ahead and pick up a broadsword from the merchant at the Coastal Cave, because that's what I'm going to be using now, I guess. and now it's off to the Weeping Peninsula. So I start by heading to Castle Morn, where I pick up the golden seed on the way, and I also got knocked off the ladder by this guy, so that was kind of funny. And then I completely destroy the Leonine Misbegotten at the end, and get the Grafted Blade Greatsword, which I might use for some stat buffs at some point. Afterwards I go ahead and start exploring the peninsula in order to pick up all of the worthwhile items I can find, and I also make my way into the Morn Tunnels, where, among other things, I get myself murdered by a whole bunch of miners and stuff. I also fight the Sword Tree Avatar for some more crystal tears, and I also pick up yet another sacred tear before I finally get what I was really here for, the Lantern, my beloved. Oh, and I pick up his Zweihander too, I guess. Afterwards I head into the Stranded Graveyard to fight the Ulcerated Tree Spirit for his Golden Seed, and it was incredibly easy, and I definitely did not die immediately upon entering the Fog Gate. Well, anyway, after that embarrassing mistake, I come back and actually fight him for real this time, and while the fight was sloppy as hell, I did eventually manage to take it down after a bit of time. Anyway, after a quick conversation with Roderica, she gives me jellyfish, so that's cool, and I pick up the Strength Knot Crystal Tear for the Physic Flask, and I also went ahead and saved the jar, and afterwards I was so happy that I threw myself off a cliff straight to my death. I now interrupt the poor skeleton's little boating trip, and with that done, I go ahead and find the turtle talisman thing in order to increase my stamina, so that's cool, and I also pick up the Golden Vow, Ash of War, and then I spent an ungodly long amount of time trying to kick this guy down the ladder, and that was kind of stupid, and I don't know why I did that, but I did eventually succeed, and he didn't even die, so what the hell. All of that was just one big excuse to go back to Kenneth High to pick up this cookbook, and afterwards it's market time, so I buff with the Physic Flask and Golden Vow, and then I just go straight ahead and start spamming him with stance breaks in order to get crits, and well, again, it was kind of sloppy as hell, and I did almost die a couple of times, but I did eventually beat him, and I guess that's all that matters. With him gone, I start abusing my flask like an alcoholic, and afterwards I'm off to Stormvale Castle in order to beat Godric, and because I didn't want to spend too much time here, I just go straight through the front gate, and I start getting shot at, but I dodge everything, except for that. After a short time, I find myself in the giant courtyard right at the end, and then I go ahead and pick up the Grace, and I pick a fight with an Omen, but I get greedy and I die, so that was fun. Now it's time for a little parkour to get in the depths of Stormvale Castle so I can fight the other ulcerated tree spirit, and I eventually find him, and I jump straight into his getting out of the ground animation, and I get hit for it, and after choking a couple of attacks miserably, I finally kill him, and then I'm off to pick up some more stuff in Stormvale Castle. Now it's Godric time, so I buff the same as I did with Margit, but I go in with the broadsword this time, and again, I kind of suck, so these wind blasts were giving me a lot of trouble, but it didn't matter too much because square off stance damage is stupid, so I could just get a lot of crits on Godric all the time, and that made things really easy. Anyway, like most of the other fights, there wasn't really anything interesting or noteworthy about it. It was just pretty standard, but I did eventually manage to beat him on my first try. Anyway, after that I get his Remembrance and his Great Rune, so that's cool, and I also go ahead and pick up the first Grace at Liurnia, and then I decided that I wanted to go back to Stormvale to pick up the Claw Talisman, and after messing around for a while, I get myself killed by gravity. So I decide I should probably take a more familiar path rather than just messing around until I find it, so I start from the beginning and I start going around and not dying, and I eventually make it to the Claw Talisman where these guys were being jerkbags and shooting me while I was trying to climb the ladder. But it didn't take long before I made it up and killed a couple of birds, and I got the Claw Talisman too. So now I'm off to repair Godric's Great Rune after a quick elevator trip. And with the first demigod dead and his Great Rune restored, I think that's going to be it for this video. So if you made it this far, well, thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe and like or dislike and unsubscribe and comment and all of that other stuff. As for me, I'm going to go, yeah, that.